Now at 5, you can't smoke in the United Center, but pretty soon you'll be able to get high. The new drink that is going to be served.
A craft brewery on the northwest side is getting ready to say goodbye, and this is just the latest blow to the beer business.
Some help could be on the way for people in Northwest Indiana dealing with skyrocketing utility bills. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Dawn Hasbrook.
I'm Scott Schreier. Once again, we've got to start with the weather because beautiful day, yes, but freezing cold and no warm up in sight, right, Emily?
No warm up in sight. The next couple of days staying very cold. Gorgeous shot here of our city skyline. Notice we have some lake effect clouds there in the distance, but over the city it has been nothing but sunshine all day long. But it's been cold. At least we were a little bit warmer than where we were yesterday. Temperatures today ended up topping out in the mid-teens for most areas. However, wind chills, they really struggled to rise above 0 or 1 degree for the majority of the day. We also still have a winter weather advisory that's staying in effect for 1 more hour for those of you in LaPorte County. We had a little bit of lake effect, and there's still a couple very light lake effect snow showers coming down in eastern LaPorte County. But this has been more so for blowing and drifting snow being a possibility. So again, that winter weather advisory, that's going to come to an end at 6 p.m. Then after that, we should be advisory free. Temperatures currently just barely holding on to the double digits. It's 12 degrees at O'Hare, same thing in Gary, 10 in DeKalb, 11 in Aurora, same thing in Waukegan. And this is what it's feeling like. We have wind chill temperatures that are now once again dropping below 0. For those of us that were lucky enough to climb above 0 today, it's feeling like 3 degrees below 0 at O'Hare, 1 downtown Chicago. Here's some good news, though. Yes, we stay cold for the rest of this week, even this weekend. Still very cold, below average, but there are some signs that we're going to be seeing temperatures rising into the 30s, which, by the way, that's where we should be for this time of the year. I'll have those details coming up.
Now to breaking news. Mace was to blame for an incident at a far south side school. So you're looking at Paul Revere Elementary. This is in Grand Crossing. 9 people rushed to the hospital. There are reports, at least some of them are children. We don't have a lot of details right now. We're going to stay on this story. We will, of course, keep you updated. A person of interest is in custody after a fire in Downers Grove claimed the life of a pregnant woman. That fire broke out at an apartment building on Ogden just after 6 last night. Authorities say the 30-year-old victim suffered what was an apparent sharp force trauma. Pronounced dead at the scene. A second person was treated for smoke inhalation. The person in custody has not been charged. Police have yet to confirm whether that person is related to the woman who died. We've got an update now on a wrongful conviction case in Cook County. Antonio Porter spent decades in prison for something he says he didn't do.
Today, a judge moved him closer to getting out. Leslie Moreno is live with the latest on what's happening there. Leslie.
Hey guys, good evening. Yeah, this is Antonio Porter's first real chance at freedom in several years. He is set to walk out of the Cook County jail here behind me. He has been locked up for 23 years now, serving a 71-year sentence. 50-year-old Antonio Porter was convicted in 2003 for a 2002 murder in which Lamont Harrison was shot during a dice game. Police and prosecutors initially argued Porter was the gunman, and a jury found him guilty at trial. Recently, a Cook County judge vacated Porter's conviction and ordered a new trial over concerns about the credibility of key police testimony in his original case. At a bond hearing on Monday afternoon, the judge ruled Porter to be released on electronic monitoring while he awaits that new trial. Advocates who have been working with Porter and his family this whole time say he's excited to be walking out today.
He's ecstatic and he's just waiting. Right now we waiting for some paperwork to be corrected. He was supposed to be released last night. But he's still in good spirit because the judge made a ruling already. He's coming home on pretrial conditions. So that's for sure. We know that for sure. We just got to wait for the process with the county doing the necessary paperwork, with the judge signing off on the correct paperwork. And we hoping that today, you know, he'll be walking out of here. We just don't have a approximate time yet.
And he's going to be staying with his mom?
He's going to be staying with a family member, not with his mom, with his close cousin. Everything is already ready. She has a big house. He has a job lined up.
The Cook County State's Attorney is still reviewing all the evidence on this case. Porter remains locked up here behind me at the Cook County Jail, awaiting for everything to be finalized again. He is set to be released at some point today. We're also told his family is standing nearby in the area waiting to greet him. For now, reporting live here outside Cook County Jail, Leslie Moreno, Fox, Chicago.
A shooting involving Border Patrol in Arizona leaves one person in critical condition. It happened near the U.S.-Mexico border. The Pima County Sheriff's Department did not go into too much detail, but said a Border Patrol agent and a suspect were involved. We will keep you updated.
Now, that is the second shooting involving a Border Patrol agent in just 4 days.
ICU nurse Alex Preddy was killed by federal agents in Minneapolis, as you know, on Saturday.
And now some agents will begin leaving Minneapolis today, and that includes Border Patrol agent Gregory Bovino. The Trump administration reorganizing leadership of the ICE crackdown. The commander of at-large operations has not been fired or relieved of his duties. Instead, he is returning to his chief position in California. The president says operations will continue in the state under his border czar, Tom Homan.
What do we want? ICE out! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? ICE out! When do we want it? Now!
Protests are happening all over the country in support of Preddy, who was a VA nurse. Today in Chicago, veterans, VA caregivers, and other allies rallied to mourn his death while also condemning the Trump administration.
We are here in mourning, we are here in rage, and we are here in an unwavering commitment to tear down these systems of hatred and harm.
That's
and
right.
to continue building the community of collective care that Alex exemplified with his final act of his own life.
In just a bit, we will take you live to Minneapolis with more on the fallout from that shooting.
And developing tonight, there are concerns in Bolingbrook over the police department's involvement in an ICE arrest.
And now the mayor is trying to clear things up. In a Facebook post, the mayor, Mary Alexander Basta, gave a timeline of what happened this morning. She says ICE was conducting its own operations when they started questioning a man in a pickup truck. The feds say the man refused their orders, rammed one of their vehicles, and fled. The man then went to the police department to report damage to his vehicle, but was detained by federal agents before officers could speak with him. The mayor says the village was not aware of any immigration enforcement operations, and police did file a criminal damage report for that alleged ramming incident.
Less than a week after Congress voted to continue funding the Department of Homeland Security, Chicago Congresswoman Delia Ramirez is now pushing legislation that not only eliminates DHS, it defunds ICE and its detention centers. The MELT ICE Act eliminates what Ramirez describes as an unrestrained crusade of cruelty against our migrant neighbors and the places they call home. The Congresswoman citing recent immigration enforcement actions here in Chicago and in Minneapolis as reasons to halt funding to ICE immediately.
The point is this: our small businesses are falling apart in this precise moment. Our children don't even want to give you their name because they're afraid that if you know their name, you will go after them and their families.
If passed into law, the MELT ICE Act would divert billions in taxpayer dollars into wraparound services, including housing, health care, and community service.
Chicago city leaders are looking to make some tweaks to the city's welcoming ordinance in the wake of this weekend's tragedy in Minneapolis.
Yeah, some alders say they'd like more accountability for those who break city laws. Political reporter Perry Schutz has details.
Yeah, Scott and Dawn, kind of in a similar vein to what you just talked about in Bolingbrook, alders today in Chicago debated a measure that would give COPA, that's the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, the power to investigate police or officials that break the city's welcoming ordinance, more commonly known as the sanctuary city policy. So under this tweak, COPA would be empowered to investigate if a police officer cooperates on immigration enforcement against the stated aim of Chicago's ordinance. Alders say the proposal is urgent because of what has unfolded in Minneapolis.
And every single day we work to uphold the values of a welcoming city. This amendment to the COPA ordinance is doing just that. It's making sure that we have the infrastructure and the systems to hold people accountable.
If we don't make these changes now, I fear for what it will look like between now and March when ICE does come back.
Now, the welcoming ordinance says that local police cannot assist in the enforcement of federal immigration law unless the federal agents present a judicial warrant to go after someone. Mayor Johnson says this tweak might just be the beginning. It is unclear whether the city can actually bring some kind of case against someone that violates the welcoming city ordinance, but he says he's looking at potential executive orders that would look at prosecution.
My team is working overtime to locate measures that I can use through my executive authority to not just hold people accountable, but to ensure that there's a mechanism in which that can take place. So we'll continue to explore all options and take a deep look into what we can do to not just investigate, but to prosecute.
Now, this measure advanced out of committee today. I did reach out to a handful of alders who have not been in favor of sanctuary city policies, and they did not respond today or said they did not want to go on the record and talk. I think a sign, Scott and Dawn, that the politics after what happened in Minnesota this weekend are very toxic in terms of aggressive deportation tactics right now. And we'll have much more on this on the Chicago Report tonight at 10, including a Chicago journalist that has a podcast called Becoming Bovino. So everything you wanted to learn about Commander Greg Bovino, who has now been sidelined. That and more tonight at 10.
All right, Paris, thanks for that. When we come back, we're going to take you to Minneapolis, where the border czar is meeting with local officials.
Plus, public school supporters urging Governor Pritzker to opt out of a new federal school voucher program.
A landmark trial beginning over just who's to blame for how addictive social media has become. Fox.
Border czar Tom Homan is now in Minnesota, taking the lead of the Trump administration's immigration enforcement operation.
He's already meeting with officials in the state as local leaders and President Trump all agree it's time now for more cooperation.
Amalia Roy is live in Minneapolis with the very latest. Amalia.
Yes, good evening, Dawn, Scott. Homan met with the Minneapolis mayor and police chief today. Mayor Jacob Fry says it was a productive conversation, but he stressed that the city will not help with federal immigration enforcement, saying in part after the meeting on X, I also made it clear that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws, and that we will remain focused on keeping our neighbors and streets safe. City leaders will continue to stay in conversation with Mr. Homan and his team. These conversations mark a significant shift for these leaders. This is after another deadly shooting involving federal agents, the first more than 2 weeks ago when an ICE officer shot and killed 37-year-old Renee Good.
the latest on Saturday, and that was the killing of Alex Preddy. Homan, when arriving in Minnesota, also met with the governor, Tim Walz, and afterwards, Walz's office said in part, Governor Walz met with Tom Homan this morning and reiterated Minnesota's priorities. Impartial investigations into the Minneapolis shootings involving federal agents, a swift, significant reduction to the number of federal forces in Minnesota, and an end to the campaign of retribution against Minnesota. Preddy was legally carrying a gun during Saturday's incident, but in bystander video, he does not appear to be holding it when Border Patrol opened fire. Administration officials initially described Preddy as a domestic terrorist and a would-be assassin. Now, President Trump is denying he's heard those claims, but today he said he didn't think Preddy should have been carrying a gun. But he also called it an unfortunate incident and said he wants a, quote, honorable and honest investigation. People across the country, including a growing number of Republican lawmakers, are also demanding to know what happened. Today, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin confirmed there is body camera footage from Saturday's shooting.
I have not seen the body cam footage myself. I know that there's at least 4 officers who were on the ground during that incident where they were wearing body cams. So I imagine that will be released at some point, but I don't have more information on it.
And there are other legal matters regarding federal conduct in Minnesota. A federal judge has ordered the head of ICE to appear in court on Friday. The judge is saying the Trump administration is not complying with orders to hold hearings for detained immigrants. In Minneapolis, Amalia Roy, Fox Chicago.
I'm Terrence Lee with an update on that boat strike from 3 months back. The White House ordered that strike on a boat near Venezuela. They said it was smuggling drugs and killed everyone on board. Well, now 2 families are suing for wrongful death. The White House says all 6 men were moving drugs, but the families say their sons were fishermen and farmers heading home to Trinidad.
Strikes in the Caribbean and in the Middle East show a clear pattern of recklessness and incompetence.
The administration says they needed to do this to keep drugs out. They went bigger that month and captured Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela's leader. He's facing narco-terrorism and drug trafficking charges now. All this is why Marco Rubio is going in front of a Senate committee tomorrow, where they're planning to ask him all about it. Scott.
All right, Terrence, thanks for that. The numbers here are staggering. RAIN, the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization, says that every 71 seconds, a sexual assault occurs here in the U.S. Every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. And that adds up to more than 400,000 people in the U.S. experiencing sexual violence every year. But for too many survivors, the trauma does not end there.
There's a common misconception in the United States that all medical facilities can help victims of sexual assault by having a sexual assault nurse examiner present and available. But the reality is that many places do not, even the places that you would expect to have them. And there isn't a complete list for survivors to check, so they have to go to the ER and hope.
Tonight at 9, in a Unit 32 special report, we are taking an in-depth look at this nationwide shortage of specialized nurses and what's being done here in Illinois to help sexual assault victims navigate it. You can see that full story on our website and on Fox Local.
Public school educators and advocates are voicing their opposition to school vouchers today and calling on the governor to do the same. A coalition led by Illinois Families for Public Schools and the League of Women Voters of Illinois stood outside the governor's office today. The group of more than 40 organizations is sending Governor Pritzker a letter. It calls on him to opt Illinois out of a new federal school voucher program that is set to begin in January of next year. They also want some voters to vote no. They say it is a Trump administration initiative that will dismantle the public school system that will be funded by taxpayers, but only pay for private and primarily religious schools that will not serve everyone.
Only 13% of those institutions in the voucher program reported serving any special education students at all. Public tax dollars should be used to serve all students while also following state and federal civil rights laws.
The public needs to know that this will actually be on the ballot around the state. On about 10% of Illinois will have this as a voter non-binding question. Asking if Illinois should participate in this federal voucher program. The answer is no.
The group says 9 out of 10 Illinois kids go to public schools, but most of the schools are still not fully funded. It's being called a landmark trial that could change the way social media handles children using their platform.
Jury selection taking place this week in a suit that claims those platforms are designed to be addictive. Sylvia standing by with details.
This trial will no doubt be in the spotlight. This is the first of many lawsuits that have been filed against these social media platforms. It involves a 19-year-old girl who says she started using social media at an early age, became addicted, and it caused her depression and mental health issues. It's being considered a test case because it's the first time the companies will defend themselves before a jury. Executives, including Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, are expected to testify, and this trial could last 6 to 8 weeks. It is in the spotlight and is being compared to the big tobacco trial of the 90s. Those, of course, involving settlements requiring cigarette companies to pay billions of dollars in health care costs. Just about an hour ago, we spoke with Dahlia Saper, an attorney who specializes in social media and entertainment law. She explained why social media companies like Meta have been able to avoid responsibility in the past.
They've been fairly successful at avoiding liability for the content that is hosted on their platform by invoking Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which says, hey, you don't sue a telephone company if someone calls you and says some horrible things using the phone. We're just like that. We're a billboard. We're a phone. You can't be mad at us if the content you're being served up is traumatizing to you in any sort of way.
A Meta spokesperson said in a statement on Monday that the company strongly disagrees with the allegations, and Google says the allegations are simply not true and that, quote, providing young people with a safer, healthier experience has always been core to our work. Snapchat and TikTok were also named in the lawsuit, but settled before the case went to trial. Dawn?
Thank you, Sylvia. Let's get an update on our forecast. Postcard picture
Gorgeous.
there. But boy, is it cold out there.
And the ice development that we've seen over the last week has really been incredible out there on Lake Michigan. And we're starting to see some ice floating down the Chicago River as well. So yes, it's been very, very cold. We have temperatures out there currently that are sitting just barely in the double digits. We're going to be dropping back down into the single digits. Eventually tonight we'll have lows pretty close to zero. Several locations, especially outside of the city, are going to be dropping down a few degrees below zero. Futurecast rolling us until about 9 p.m. or so. At this point, we're going to be mostly clear. Temperatures are going to be right around 5 degrees for a lot of us. By the way, for those of you in LaPorte County, your winter weather advisory, it was just extended until midnight. So that's going to be remaining in effect now for blowing, drifting snow still being a concern throughout the evening. But again, that is now set to expire at midnight. Tomorrow morning, we're waking up to temperatures in the mid-teens. That's where we're going to be during the afternoon as well. And so it's going to feel very similar to what we were experiencing today. We're going to have some sunshine and high temperatures in the teens. Wind chill temps still pretty close to zero during the day. 5-day forecast, 16 degrees tomorrow, 14 on Thursday. We're going to have a chance of a lake effect developing Thursday evening. That's going to continue right on into Saturday. So those of us in Northeast Illinois, I think we're going to be hit on Friday during the day. That's going to shift over to Northwest Indy Friday night and into Saturday. We'll be right back.
Fox Tonight.
All right, so a lot of you who live in Northwest Indiana have been talking to us about your NIPSCO bills, telling us they're just too high.
And about 2 hours ago, Indiana lawmakers approved a bill that is supposed to give you relief.
Yeah, Brett Bagansky's been listening to this meeting. And Brett, so what are they saying?
Not be the relief that everybody has been looking for. I know a lot of people have been upset by the recent bills, but several House Democrats tried amending the bill just hours ago, which included eliminating the sales tax on your public utility bills. That way you get some immediate relief, but those amendments failed along party lines. So we're talking about House Bill 1002, which is about giving Indiana residents a levelized billing plan, as well as giving you an opportunity to opt out of a plan at any time without taking that penalty. And it also bans utility companies from promoting what's called a budget billing plan unless it provides specific forms of relief. So some Democrats argue this is a good start, but it doesn't go far enough by giving any financial relief now, especially for our viewers in Northwest Indiana. So we heard from State Representative Mike Andrade from Munster, who was really fired up at times, even reading letters from his constituents about how they can't afford to pay their NIPSCO bills. And we also heard from customers who have been begging state lawmakers for help.
Too often, customers are left without a clear answer on why their bills have risen or how their money is being used. This is why I sent a letter to the IURC last September asking for an investigation into NIPSCO's rates, transparency, and payment systems.
Unfortunately, sales tax exemptions aren't just relief, they're permanent change to the revenue base. Even if the tax is collected at the state level, sales tax revenues flow through a broader fiscal ecosystem.
So this bill now moves on to the Senate. It's also coming at a time as hundreds of NIPSCO customers are getting ready to protest outside of offices in both Hammond and Maryville next week. And there's also a public utility hearing next Wednesday in Indianapolis. And this is all about the company's billing practice. Stay tuned for that one.
Well, for the first time ever, a major arena in the U.S. is going to be selling THC drinks.
And it's right here in Chicago, when and where you can start feeling a different kind of buzz.
Known for its low prices, Amazon Fresh is no more. The company announces plans for dozens of stores nationwide.
I'm Cassie Carlson. Shocking news out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Arguably the greatest NFL coach of all time, not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Plus, one of Bears front office member is a finalist for a GM job, and the latest on the NFL coaching carousel coming your way later in sports.
Getting rid of old furniture.
Now at the bottom of the hour, the United Center is about to start offering drinks infused with THC.
First, Amazon announces it's saying farewell to its fresh locations.
Yeah, company shutting down all of its grocery stores and Amazon Go locations to focus on the Whole Foods brand and same-day delivery.
Casey Cronus is live in Oak Lawn with the latest. Casey.
That's right, and the lights are on, but no one is inside shopping. Customers have been caught by surprise all day, showing up here to shop or return Amazon items, only to find the store closed. Now, Amazon says its last day of operations at all of its locations is this Sunday, February 1st. But today, customers in Oak Lawn were met by locked doors and a sign that reads, "We are closed for the remainder of the day. Come back tomorrow." It's unclear if the doors will really reopen in the morning, as shoppers tell us the North Riverside and Schaumburg locations have the same message posted. In Illinois, Amazon operates 10 fresh locations, while there are just a handful of Go locations downtown. Amazon says some, not all of these stores will become Whole Foods markets, all while the company shifts its focus to same-day grocery delivery. We spoke with a consumer expert about the closure just 5 years after the fresh concept launched in stores.
I think that Amazon for several years now has been experimenting with the grocery business, and I think these were all parts of its various experiments. It bought Whole Foods, it's been mining data from Whole Foods, it's tried little convenience stores, it's tried using tech, and I think, what we're learning from this is that the experimentation with these small format tech-enabled stores isn't doing very well, that it's stretching them. Obviously, it doesn't make sense to have like 15 different channels like this anyhow. And, Amazon's online grocery is just more aligned with its broader strategy of improving the delivery experience and doing last mile.
Amazon says it's going to try to retain as many employees as possible in other roles throughout the company. This as Amazon looks to Orland Park, where it is planning to build a super center. It'll sell groceries and other merchandise that is in the works, set to open sometime in the coming years. Reporting live in Oak Lawn, Casey Cronus, Fox Chicago.
I was just thinking that next week it's the Chicago Auto Show. If our weather were a car, Emily, we're stuck in neutral, and nobody likes the fact that we're not going anywhere with the temps.
Well, we'll start to hit that accelerator next week. Next week is looking better than this week, that's for sure. So we actually have a shot at seeing temperatures returning to the 30s by the end of next week. And that's something that we have not been able to say in quite some time. So the wind chill temps, the extreme wind chill temps that we've been experiencing lately, and will likely continue all the way through the end of this week. We, I think, can bid farewell. There we go. Got it. It took a minute, but I got it. To those as we go into next week. We have a winter weather advisory that is remaining in effect now until midnight for those of you in LaPorte County. Right now, here's your view. It's a stunning view, but it is very cold. We have wind chill temperatures down to about 3 degrees below zero. For tonight, 2 degrees. We have westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's going to send wind chill temperatures tonight down to about 5 to 15 degrees below zero. Your 3-day forecast. We are in the mid-teens the next couple of days, and lake effect snow, that's going to develop Thursday night, lasting into Friday, likely first impacting northwest Indiana, swinging into northeast Illinois on Friday, and then back to northwest Indy as we go into Friday night and Saturday.
The United Center is about to do something no big arena in the country has done yet. They're going to start selling THC drinks at concerts and at other shows. Not at sporting events, though, not at kid stuff either. 2 brands are coming in. Senorita is one, Rhythm is another. It's a company based in Rolling Meadows. Both brands use THC from hemp. Each can has 5 milligrams in it. That amount hits most people about like a glass of wine does. Takes 20 to 30 minutes before you feel it. You have to be 21 and older to buy one. They'll be set up at stands at certain spots in the arena.
We've had the business here in Chicago for 10 years. United Center is the premier venue, and being able to expose consumers to our brands, to our lifestyle brands that are safe, highly functional, great products is super exciting. And what we're seeing is consumers are leaning away from alcohol, choosing less alcohol, and looking for alternatives. And so being able to offer this at concerts and at different kinds of live events and sports, it's a great thing for consumers, and it's an alternative.
Now, this is happening while there's a federal ban on the way. President Trump signed a law back in November that bans intoxicating hemp products starting this November. Nobody knows yet if the feds will actually come down hard on it or not. And mind you, Chicago's got its own thing going on, too. The city council just approved a ban on most intoxicating hemp products. Now, drinks get an exception. Licensed bars and venues like the UC can still sell them. Other hemp products get pushed to cannabis dispensaries only. Now, that ban kicks in April 1st. Mayor Brandon Johnson already said he has concerns about it. He could veto the whole thing. He has until February 13th to decide. Either way, the United Center deal stays put because drinks get a pass, no matter what. They start selling February 4th. The first show is Boyz II Men, New Edition, and Tony Braxton. They're all on tour together. So this basically makes the United Center the test case for how big arenas handle THC drinks. Other places around the country are watching to see how it goes. And Donna Scott, I know you notice I have two cans, so one for either of you.
I was going to say, you sit right across from Donna and I, but so we don't have to go all the way to your desk.
Ranch water and lime jalapeno margarita. So just let me know.
Nice.
Emily gets none. You can't partake.
Nope.
All right. Well, you know, this is kind of fitting for this next story because after more than a decade on the Northwest Side, a craft brewery is closing its doors for good.
And it's not the only one. In a special report, we dig deeper into the nationwide trend.
The decision to extract them is up to you.
Well, there are beers and some tears flowing at a Chicago brewery on the Northwest Side.
After nearly 11 years in business, Alarmist Brewing will be closing its doors this weekend.
Just the latest blow to the beer business in the Chicagoland area and part of a nationwide trend. As our Dane Placco reports, there are a number of reasons craft beer sales have hit the brakes.
The beer is flowing and the crowd is growing at Alarmist Brewing in Chicago's Sauganash neighborhood. But it's as much a wake as a party, because in just a few days, Alarmist will be no more.
I put my heart and soul into this place, so it's not just a business. I mean, I put everything I know into this place. And
it's gotta hurt.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts bad.
Gary Gully is a Chicago craft beer pioneer. We first met Gully in 2013 when he began to make a name for himself homebrewing in his basement.
Do a little check on the aroma. Very happy.
In 2015, Gully opened Alarmist on Peterson Avenue, and then things really took off when the brewery won a national gold medal for its signature hazy brew, Le Jus.
That changed everything for us. And when we, 2018, 2019, we couldn't make it fast enough. I brought in more fermenters just for that.
But then COVID hit. Taste began to change, and things were never the same.
We were down anywhere from 10 to 20% at any given moment. And for a small business like us, that's the difference between breaking even or profit or not.
It had to have been a tough decision to make.
It was very, very tough. I've probably cried more in the last month than I have in a very long time.
He's not alone. Customers say this brewery has become community.
I've been coming here since it opened. I have changed diapers here. This is the place where I have written my Christmas cards every year. I feel like I'm losing my third space, and this came up in therapy this week. I don't think I've fully emotionally grappled with the loss of this place.
These are some of my favorite beers in general, so we love to come down here, and we're sad that they're not going to be around.
It's a death by 1,000 cuts.
Carl Clockers is one of the creators of Guys Drinking Beer, a blog that keeps tabs on the Chicago area beer biz. They also maintain a map and list of Chicago breweries, and the numbers are shrinking.
2 years ago, we were in the mid 230s in terms of those overall numbers, and now we're down to just over 200-ish places making beer in Chicagoland, and that's something like a 15% drop.
In the past 18 months, the victims include Bulldog Brewing, District Brew Yards, Diversity House, Miskatonic, On Tour, 1090, and Temperance, among others. Why the industry-wide hangover? People are becoming more health conscious and drinking less. More of us are working from home and not going out. Legalized marijuana has become an option. And GLP-1 medications are reducing appetites, including beer consumption.
Breweries don't really get to be breweries anymore. Breweries kind of have to be beverage companies now. And if you want to open a new brewery, you kind of have to be prepared to offer more than just beer.
The bar will sit across this whole back wall.
Offering more is the reason Mike Palin is expanding his popular microphone brewing in Elk Grove Village to a second location here in Park Ridge, inside an old Boston Market store in a strip mall.
What we're trying to do here is not just be a brewery, our tap room. We want to be an all-encompassing neighborhood spot.
Palin says the new location will offer coffee in the morning, a place for remote workers, smash burgers and cheese curds for the lunch and dinner crowd, cocktails and seltzers, and yes, beer.
Is it a little scary, though, expanding when other places are contracting or closing?
It's the entire landscape of any business is always scary, right? We're banking on this being what I called in the meeting the Applebee's of the breweries. Come in, hang out after baseball. Come in after your stroll around the neighborhood. Come hang out here, be part of the community.
So this is the final batch of juice.
Back at Alarmist, Gully is hoping he can find a buyer for the business that will keep the brewery and brand intact. Otherwise, he'll be forced to sell these huge steel tanks for as little as 10 cents on the dollar.
You think there's a viable business here?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It just needs someone who can invest a little bit more money on a few things, marketing especially.
I'll be talking to you. I'll see you.
For now, it's time to say goodbye to his customers as they scoop up the last cases of the beers they've come to love.
Based on what everyone's telling me, we left a mark, which feels good, but I just wish we could keep going. It kills me.
In Sauganash, Dane Placco, Fox Chicago News.
First ballot Hall of Famer, not so fast. The second winningest head coach in the NFL history missed the mark to earn his gold jacket in his first year of eligibility. Plus, could Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers reunite in Pittsburgh? The Steelers' new head coach makes it known how he feels about coaching 42-year-old Rodgers. Hear what he has to say next in sports.
Grab my harness.
You know, this is getting serious. We're not laughing about this forecast anymore.
Yeah,
you know, warm up.
It's time for a warm up, right? Today we didn't get it. Well, you know, I guess technically we did. We were in the teens today. That's warmer than where we were yesterday.
What, 1 or 2 degrees? What?
Yeah, I mean, we were about 15 or 16 degrees for most areas. But hey, it's an improvement from yesterday. However, I don't see a really big improvement with temperatures until we get into this upcoming weekend. By then, we're still going to be cooler than average, but we're going to make it into the 20s by Saturday and Sunday. Currently, it's 12 degrees at O'Hare, 13 at the Chicago Lakefront, 9 in Woodstock. Same thing in DeKalb. We're at 11 degrees in Aurora. It is 12 degrees in Merrillville. Same thing in Valparaiso. We're at 11 now in Rensselaer. Once you factor in a breeze, this is what it feels like. So we've been dealing with wind chill temperatures really not much higher than about 0 to 1 degree during the afternoon. Now we're starting to see those wind chills dropping below 0 again. And tonight we're looking at wind chills as low as 5 to 15 degrees below 0. And almost every single night this week, we have low temperatures that are dropping down to about 0, give or take. For those of you that are in the suburbs, we're going to see a couple more sub-0 nights. And wind chill temperatures are going to stay well below 0 for the next couple of nights, too. Daytime highs, we're looking at mid-teens through Friday, 20s over the weekend. Average high for this time of the year is 31. But take a look at this. This is your temperature outlook for the first week of February from the 2nd through the 6th. And you can see that we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern change here. So no longer talking about below average conditions and possibly even beginning to favor slightly above average conditions. So late next week, we have temperatures that are likely going to be returning to the 30s, and that's going to feel like a heat wave after the cold that we've been dealing with. Futurecast taking us through tonight. Clear skies. We're going to be cold, and then through the day tomorrow. Dry skies, lots of sunshine, but again, highs are only making it into the mid-teens. And then looking forward to Thursday, that's when we start to see lake effect developing again, especially for northwest Indiana during the afternoon and evening. And then Thursday night into Friday, that's when we start to see this moving into northeast Illinois. So we have another lake effect event that's going to be impacting the area, both northwest Indiana and northeast Illinois, Thursday into Friday, possibly even lasting into Saturday as well. Temperatures by the weekend, we should be in the 20s, and that's going to set the tone for next week. We're going to be in the mid to upper 20s by Monday and Tuesday. Cassie.
Thanks, Emily. Shocking news out of the Pro Football Hall of Fame reports 8-time Super Bowl winning head coach Bill Belichick not a first ballot Hall of Famer. ESPN's Seth Wickersham reports Belichick did not receive the 40 out of 50 votes necessary to earn his gold jacket in his first year of eligibility. His 6 championships as Patriots head coach and 12 Super Bowl appearances are both NFL records. He's second in all-time career wins. Now, his involvement in Spygate and Deflategate were reported as reasons why he didn't receive enough votes. Meantime, around the NFL, coaching vacancies are filling up. 7 of the 10 have been filled after the Bills promote their offensive coordinator Joe Brady to head coach. So he goes to the Bills. Mike McCarthy introduced today as the Steelers head coach, while John Harbaugh goes to the Giants and Jeff Hafley goes to the Dolphins. Robert Saleh gets his second chance as being a head coach in Tennessee. Just announced Brian Dable as his offensive coordinator, along with Kevin Stefanski in Atlanta. Jesse Minter goes to Baltimore. So the vacancies are Cardinals, Raiders, who own the first overall pick in the draft, and the Browns. Now, no head coaching vacancies are in the NFC North, but plenty of coordinator changes this offseason. Our team breaks it down this week on First and North.
It gives the Bears offense and Caleb Williams stability heading into another year. Instead of him jumping too fast, he can continue to grow and learn from Ben Johnson.
I do think that initial wave of what the heck is going on here has kind of turned into, all right, I see what Dan Campbell's thinking here.
But I think people around here in Minnesota are elated to have him around, because I think we all know with the offensive situation we have with J.J. McCarthy and crew, you want to have some type of thing you can lean on, whether that's special teams or defense.
Declan Doyle's 29 years old. When he came into the world, fans couldn't even name position coaches on these various teams.
Make sure to get all caught up with things around the division on First and North tonight at 6 on Fox Local and 9:30 right here on Fox Chicago. Well, Mike McCarthy officially introduced as the Steelers head coach today, where the Pittsburgh native got choked up about talking about coaching for the team he grew up a fan of. He also said he'll be calling offensive plays and wants 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers to come back for another season. The two have a history from their 13 years together in Green Bay, where they won a Super Bowl.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. But, you know, I think just like anything, you know, knowing Aaron long enough, going through seasons, you know, I think when players, to see Mel Blount here, I mean, when guys are up at that stage of their career, they need to step away and decompress. I think that's very important.
In the NBA, the Bulls' 4-game win streak snapped by the Lakers last night in their 129-118 loss. Luka Doncic absolutely took over, scoring 46 with 12 assists, including 8 triples. Kobe White led the way with 23 for the Bulls, and with his five threes, he passes Kirk Heinrich for second all-time in three-pointers made in Bulls franchise history.
It just so happened they got a guy named Luka who had 46 points, so for us, we just got to continue to bounce back and not let it, dwindle, not let it snowfall, not let it avalanche. So we just got to come out ready to compete against Indiana, who had our number this year for sure. So we got to, look towards that game. We got to be locked in and ready to play.
Now, this is one of the best Blackhawks traditions, the Moms Trip. Blackhawks players bring their moms on the road to Minnesota and Pittsburgh this season. They got to join morning skate and bring some good luck on the road as the Hawks look to extend their 4-game road win streak. Starts tonight with puck drop at 7. Meantime, Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham will get a second in-person interview to be the Falcons GM, and Illini football will open Big Ten play on the road at Ohio State and host Oregon on October 24th. Northwestern opens Big Ten play on the road against the national champions Indiana. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
TV smash hit Memory of a Killer.
Oh, baby, tell us about this forecast.
Well, it's very, very cold. You think you're so clever, Dawn. 7-day forecast tomorrow, partly cloudy, 16 degrees, 14 for your high on Thursday. Thursday evening, we have lake effect snow that's going to develop in northwest Indiana. That's going to swing over into northeast Illinois on Friday, and then back to northwest Indiana going into Saturday. We have 20s in the forecast, though, this weekend. So, Scott, it's going to be a heat wave for you.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Short sleeves and drop tops. Thanks for joining us at 5.
Now you can stream us on your smart TV with Fox Local.
We're on all the streaming platforms.
Family Feud is next. We'll see you tonight at 9.
you.